Good morning and welcome to the Norwegian Nobel Institute. My name is Erik Osheim. I'm head of media and communication here at the Institute. And the chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Jørgen will at 11 o'clock precisely come out via this Norwegian world famous door and announce this year's Nobel Peace Prize laureate. The announcement will be held in English only. We will immediately distribute a printed version in Norwegian and English. So look for people with these files, kind of secret files, until 11 o'clock. And then you will get a printed version in Norwegian or English. It will also be made available at our web page at the same moment. The announcement will be followed by a 15-minute press conference. All questions has to be addressed in English and wait to speak until you get a portable microphone. And the door is now closed. It will be closed. We are closing the door. And now it's not possible from now until the press conference is finished. You cannot go out from this room. If you need some fresh air, you can go out to the terrace. And I just want to mention we have some fire safety routine. If the fire alarm sounds, immediately stop what you are doing and prepare to evacuate. So stay alert and follow the instruction. It will be sent to you what to do and follow that instruction. And the meeting point, once outside, make your way to the designated meeting point. And the meeting point is located next to our neighboring building by the main entrance. So most important, follow the instructions. And it's also a big world premiere today. Our lectern from 1905 is back in business. It was designed in 1905 actually by two architects. The sons, the president of the Norwegian Parliament in 1905 was a member of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, and he gave the job to his two architect sons to make all the furniture here. They made this, but in the 80s it suddenly disappeared. We throw it away actually in the 80s because it was not fashion to have this kind of furniture. The lectern mysteriously disappeared. And then in 2000 we were contacted by a bar owner all out in Finnmark, north of Norway, small village, 1,200 people who use this as a bar in his bar. We were asked if we want to buy it back, and we bought it back in 2000. So we fixed it. So the historic 1905 lectern will once again be a part of this historical moment. So from 1905 bar back here. So that's also breaking news today. So 11 o'clock, the happy news will be announced. Thank you.
Nå vi snart ferdig med å telle ned. Dette jo kulminasjonen av en prosess som har pågått her i instituttet i nesten et år. Fra fristen i vinter, nærmere bestemt 31. januar, har komiteen jobbet jevnt og trutt. De startet med 338 kandidater og har jobbet seg nedover, og har endt opp nå i høst med en prisvinner. Så det også sånn at i år så vet alle hvem som både uttaler offentlig og understreker at han både vil ha og bør få prisen, men ingen vet hvem som faktisk får prisen. Så jeg vil si at spenningen stor blant de nesten 100 journalistene som til stede her. Det hadde vært langt flere hvis det var mulig, men det var altså grenser, og da var det fullt i dette rommet. Interessen høyere enn noen. Komiteen har for det første vært langt mer aktive i å kommunisere ut på forhånd. Jeg opplever at det viktigste punktet for dem har vært å få ut at de uavhengige av den norske regjering, at de understreker forpliktelsene sine i forhold til testamentet, og så har de vært opptatt av å kommunisere ut at dette ikke en pris på det som nødvendigvis skjer akkurat nå, men det som har skjedd det foregående år, altså egentlig i 2024, men den kan også ta hensyn til ting som har skjedd i 2025. Her ser vi bilder på andre siden av denne brukdøra, og Jørgen Vatnefrydnes, som sammen med Kristian Berg, artisten i Viken, sekretæren av komiteen, gjør seg klar til å komme inn for å kunngjøre det som denne store nyheten som alle inne i dette rommet og framfor temaet på alle vis rundt omkring i hele verden ventet på, nemlig den som i 2025 tildelt den store æra og bli vinner av årets Nobels fredspris. Et år altså interessen større enn nok en gang før. Mye takket være hvordan det blir kommunisert fra Hvite hus. Og så får vi bare vente og høre hvilket navn som faktisk vil bli formidlet fra den nye talerstolen, gamle talerstolen. Det altså slik at den opprinnelige talerstolen her i Nobel-instituttet tilbake, og derfor vil nå Nobels fredspris
Good morning. The Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 goes to a brave and committed champion of peace, to a woman who keeps the flame of democracy burning amidst a growing darkness. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado. She is receiving the Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy. As the leader of the democratic forces in Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado is one of the most extraordinary examples of civilian courage in Latin America in recent times. Ms. Machado has been a key unifying figure in a political opposition that was once deeply divided, an opposition that found common ground in the demand for free election and representative government. This is precisely what lies at the heart of democracy, our shared willingness to defend the principles of popular rule, even though we disagree. At a time when democracy is under threat, it is more important than ever to defend this common ground. Venezuela has evolved from a relatively democratic and prosperous country to a brutal and authoritarian state that is now suffering a humanitarian and economic crisis. Most Venezuelans live in deep poverty, even as the few at the top enrich themselves. The violent machinery of the state is directed against its own population. Nearly 8 million people have left the country. The opposition has been systematically suppressed by means of election rigging, legal prosecution, and imprisonment. Venezuela's authoritarian regime makes political work extremely dangerous. As the founder of Sumate, an organization devoted to democratic development, Ms. Machado stood up for free and fair elections more than 20 years ago. As she said, it was a choice of ballots over bullets. In political office and in her service to organizations since then, Ms. Machado has spoken out for judicial independence, human rights, and popular representation. She has spent years working for the freedom of the Venezuelan people. Ahead of the election of 2024, Ms. Machado was the opposition's presidential candidate, but the regime blocked her candidacy. She then backed the representative of a different party, Edmundo González Urrutia, in the election. Hundreds of thousands of volunteers mobilized across political divides. They were trained as election observers to ensure a transparent and fair election. Despite the risk of harassment, arrest, and torture, citizens across the country held watch over the polling stations. They made sure the final tallies were documented before the regime could destroy ballots and lie about the outcome. The efforts of the collective opposition, both before and during the election, were innovative and brave, peaceful and democratic. The opposition received international support when its leaders publicized the vote counts that had been collected from the country's election districts, showing that the opposition had won by a clear margin. But the regime refused to accept the election result and clung to power. Democracy is a precondition for lasting peace. However, we live in a world where democracy is in retreat, where more and more authoritarian regimes are challenging norms and resorting to violence. The Venezuelan regime's rigid hold on power and its repression of its population are not unique in the world. We see the same trends globally. Rule of law abused by those in control, free media silenced, critics imprisoned, and societies pushed towards authoritarian rule and militarization. In 2024, more elections were held than ever before, but fewer and fewer are free and fair. In its long history, the Norwegian Nobel Committee has honored brave women and men who have stood up to repression, who have carried the hope of freedom in prison cells, on the streets, and in public squares, and who have shown by their actions that peaceful resistance can change the world. In the past year, Ms. Machado has been forced to live in hiding, despite serious threats against her life she has remained in the country, a choice that has inspired millions. When authoritarians seize power, it is crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist. Democracy depends on people who refuse to stay silent, who dare to step forward despite grave risk, and who remind us that freedom must never be taken for granted, but must always be defended, with words, with courage, and with determination. Maria Corina Machado meets all the three criteria stated in Alfred Nobel's will for the selection of a Peace Prize. She has brought her country's opposition together. She has never wavered in resisting the militarization of Venezuelan society. She has been steadfast in her support for a peaceful transition to democracy. Maria Corina Machado has shown that the tools of democracy are also the tools of peace. She embodies the hope of a different future, one where the fundamental rights of citizens are protected and their voices are heard. In this future, people will finally be free to live in peace. Thank you. Questions?
Mr. Chair, the attention this year has been a bit further north. How are you as a committee going to make sure that the topic of this year's Peace Prize, democratic development in Venezuela, is highlighted in the days and weeks to come?
First and foremost, we hope to get your help, because the media obviously plays an important role in highlighting the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, but first and foremost the immense and impressive work of the opposition in that country, so that they will still have hope to fight for a freedom, a future of freedom for their country.
Congratulations to Maria Corina Machado and the committee on the decision. But during the past months, US President Donald Trump has repeatedly said he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize and he'd like to have it. He even said that it would be an insult to the United States if he doesn't get it. What does your, as chairman of the Nobel Peace Prize Committee, think of this, and how has this campaign-like activity by the President and his supporters domestically and internationally affected the deliberations and the thinking in the committee?
In the long history of the Nobel Peace Prize, I think this committee has seen any type of campaign, media attention. We receive thousands and thousands of letters every year of people wanting to say what for them leads to peace. This committee sits in a room filled with the portraits of all laureates, and that room is filled with both courage and integrity. So we base only our decision on the work and the will of Alfred Nobel.
Hello, Viviana Pena from the Norwegian News Agency. As you state in your explanation, more and more countries are moving in a more autocratic direction. Would you say that the committee, by this prize, is sending a warning to the world?
Living in a world where we have less and less democracies and more authoritarian regime means that the world is also getting more unsafe. And we believe that peace, democracy is a precondition for peace. And so yes, that is the message to the world. We need to support the democratic forces also on behalf of peace. Thank you.
Mieszko Czarnecki, the Polish press agency PAP. This is the next Nobel Peace Prize in the recent years when a woman has been awarded. Do you feel that women all over the world and in certain countries play a significant or in a certain role protecting democracy, taking into consideration the Iranian activist in 2023, and because a Venezuelan democracy protector that has been just announced as a laureate. Thank you.
Thank you. As quoted in the announcement texts, in the long history of the prize, brave women and men from around the world have stood up against repression again and again. That is a key element of the Peace Prize, and we've seen it once again, that Maria Machado has been a unifying leader of the opposition in Venezuela, and what they did in the election of 2024 was incredible, and it gives hope to an entire country.
Mr. Chairman, Christopher Oliver from Aftenposten. We've seen in previous years that awarding the Peace Prize to dissidents can put their lives at more risk than it already is. You mentioned yourself that she has been in hiding for quite some time. What considerations have you made when it comes to her safety and security now that she's become more exposed because of this Peace Prize?
You're now touching upon some of the absolutely most difficult dilemmas in the work of the committee. This is the discussion we have every year for all candidates, particularly when the person who receives the prize is in fact in hiding because of serious threats to her life. She is very active in Venezuela, has been and will be. And so we are also taking the consideration that this prize will support her cause and not limit it. Thank you.
Do you expect to see her in December in Oslo?
Again, a question of security. It's too early to say. We always hope to have the laureate with us in Oslo, but this is a serious security situation which needs to be handled first. Thank you. Then I'll say thank you so much for your questions. Thank you for coming. We'll have individual